Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 172, recording on Monday, November 13th, 2023. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And yet again, we are missing Huck City. He was away, had a busy week. As far as I know, he will be back for next week's show, which we don't even know what it's going to be yet. Who has an idea? But he's not sick anymore. He is well. But we waited to record on Monday because the Game Award nominees for 2023 were announced today. The biggest night in gaming this December, and we will be talking about all the nominees. I was talking to Sean. We should have guessed the nominees on the show. I would have crushed it, except for one. I'm sure we'll give our predictions as to who will win, not who we think is going to win, who will win,
or
what game will win. And another new rule we have to talk about. We, again, waited to record until the end of the Buffalo Bills game. They're playing a Monday night game right now.
Once again,
ready to go. They lost on a last-second field goal. We are not allowed to record on Bills nights anymore.
Yeah, it's not working out so well for you.
So at least I'm going to come in hot, heated. I almost went to that game. I would be fucking losing my mind if I was driving home from that game. I went to the Monday nighter where they blew a 10-point or was a 9-point lead to the Cowboys. Absolutely devastating. Oh, the worst right now. All penalties at the end of the game. I would be snapping. Only good news is my emotional hedges just paid off, made $1,000 off that game. It's the only reason I'm not losing my mind. So thank God for the emotional hedge.
Yeah, it seems to be working well for you.
It's keeping me sane. Now, we'll see if the Game Awards continue to allow me to maintain that sanity, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
There's definitely the discussion in the Discord about how you would feel about these nominees.
How did I not see that?
I don't know.
Is it a private channel? Are people talking about me behind my back on there?
Yeah, it's the private Frank
Shit Talk channel. I don't want to see that channel. That's okay. Figure out how to do that without me seeing it. I just don't want to know it exists. All right, so let's get into the nominees for the Game Awards 2023. Game of the Year. We need Jay's soundboard for this.
Yeah.
Game of the Year. And the nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Is that the official title? Resident Evil 4 Remake?
I mean, I think it is, but on the site I'm looking at, they just call it Resident Evil 4.
That's what I thought too. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, as Sean would say, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
Now, let's talk Game of the Year. I think we're both on the same page. Sean, what do you think is going to win? Any surprises here? Observations?
Yeah, no huge surprises. If I had put down my predictions ahead of time, I think the one I would have left off the list was Resident Evil 4. It's not a huge shock to see it there, but that's just the one I probably wouldn't have thought. And I thought, I know you're going to talk about Jedi Survivor. I think the one that I probably would have predicted would be there. Starfield. Just because, not that I necessarily think it deserves to be there, not that I think there's payola, but I do think I think sometimes the awards, there's a tendency to try and spread it around. Everybody gets some sort of game that's mentioned on the show.
I agree. I'm guessing Microsoft pulled back their advertising budget on the Game Awards this year. Keep an eye out for that. Do we know the exact date of the awards yet? It's got to be
December 7th.
7th. So pretty soon.
Yeah.
And, the Game Awards have become somewhat entertaining. The last two have been memorable. There's been moments like any award show. So I'm legitimately looking forward to these and some new announcements. But my first observation, all sequels, not a single original game, which I don't think they're bad games or it's a bad thing necessarily, but it is interesting that no one seems to be recognizing some new idea or game. I can't remember if that's ever happened in the past, to be honest. And I haven't seen it talked about much. I guessed earlier today. I thought there was only going to be 5 nominees, and I pretty much would have got them all. I did not expect Resident Evil 4 remake to be on the list, but I wasn't surprised. The games I would have had on the bubble were Starfield. I haven't really played it, I can't say, and Jedi Survivor. I assumed the people deciding these awards have no idea what they're talking about and did not recognize the brilliance of Jedi Survivor. So the best level designers in the world working at Respawn and absolutely zero recognition.
Well, I guess in the other major snubs or games that could have been there, I'm not shocked that they're not there, but Final Fantasy 16 thought
Not a
that might
surprise
be
to me.
there. And I mean, if you're going to put Resident Evil 4 remake, I feel like Dead Space is in the conversation.
I don't disagree. And I mean, I have to go there. People hate EA. I don't know if EA, although I think they paid for some Summer Game Fest stuff, Immortals of Avium and some other games. So, EA spreading the cash around to Keeley. I think they could make an exception. So that was a little surprising to me, but yeah, weird choice to include a remake. This opens a Pandora's box. I don't think we want to. Is that by definition though? Do you ever want to open Pandora's box?
I mean,
is it implied that when you open Pandora's box, you shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, but I think it's a temptation that you want to open the box. It's never a good thing. But I mean, yeah, it's the remake thing is going to be a big conversation when it comes to the year-end lists this year. I'm still not sure how I want to handle it. I mean, at this point, I haven't finished Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, or Metroid Prime Remastered, but I want to.
Thank God Metroid Prime Remastered wasn't on this. That would have been bad. But I mean, Resident Evil, that's how you roll. You've never finished a Resident Evil game, am I right? Like you say you love the series.
I finished 4, 5, Village, and 2. I beat 2 this year. So
okay.
Catching up.
Coming around. Fair enough. But I mean, Resident Evil 4, the original, I think you've said it's one of your favorites or was your favorite game at some point in time, correct?
It's up there, yeah.
Didn't feel the need to dip in to the remake.
I mean, I've played a fair chunk of it, but I don't know. I just never, I still want to go back to it. Still plan to finish it, but we'll see.
I plan to finish Resident Evil Remake, Dead Space, Immortals of Avium, Sea of Stars, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Mario Wonder, all before the end of the year. I promise.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm making a vow. This is not a solemn vow, just a vow that I will beat those games before the end of the year. Yikes. Okay. It's going to be a busy holiday season. If anything gets cut, it'll probably be Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that's the one that's it's tough for me. Like, I mean, I think we both agree that it's probably going to win Game of the Year here. It's
100%.
A lot of awards in other categories. The Golden Joystick Awards were just announced this week as well, which I'm not that familiar with them. I think they're like a British thing maybe, but Baldur's Gate 3 won the vast majority of the awards. So it's heading that way. And I will say it has a strong chance of being high on my list. I just haven't played, like I put 20, 25 hours, maybe more into it, and I'm not even done Act 1 yet. So
yeah, I've heard it's not that long. I feel like I have to play more of that game for a Game of the Year conversation. So I think this time I'm going to revisit it towards the end of the year and play it with a controller and see how that goes on PC. Would be my thing, but not even a doubt. I was just checking to see if I could take those Bills winnings and parlay them into some Game Awards bets. These are not, I wanted to check the odds. They are not on my gambling app. Other award shows are. And I would be betting a lot on Baldur's Gate to win Game of the Year.
Yeah, and I mean there's a story there in terms of the studio, and it doesn't feel like, yes, it's a sequel, but it also feels like, a resurgence of a genre that a lot of people thought was dead and all this kind of stuff. So it has that narrative behind it, and I'm cool with it for the most part. I guess the other thing, so
Well, I think the biggest thing with Baldur's Gate 3, why it will win. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, people love that, is the only game I could see giving that a game a run for its money. Have yet to finish Alan Wake 2. Many members of the Discord feel like that is game of the year.
mhm.
I cannot see that happening for me unless the end of the game is, or anything I haven't played is truly remarkable. Level design and basic design functionality is average at best. But Tears of the Kingdom, I certainly wouldn't think so, but people loved that game and loved the construction elements. So that feels like something innovative that could push it to a new level. But Baldur's Gate 3 has set a new precedent. There's articles about how other RPG makers cannot be held to the standard of Baldur's Gate 3. People beat it multiple times in terms of meaningful play and player agency leading to different outcomes. For the game, it seems like it's setting the highest bar ever. So I cannot see a situation where this game does not win.
Yeah. And I guess in terms of other snubs or things that were a bit of a surprise for this category, usually there's an indie game that kind of breaks through, and there wasn't that this year. I think it's such a strong year that there's enough AAA stuff that kind of made the cut. So
I will say the two awards, Game of the Year is probably the most interesting award just in terms of judging the landscape of games and what's popular. But the indie Game of the Year is the one I look forward to the most. Like that's like I need to play everything on those nominees lists. That's the most interesting stuff in games for the most part.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Like usually the big categories, it's not a huge surprise. You know all the games already, but sometimes the indie and some of those other categories, there's some fresh stuff that you're kind of like haven't heard of, or you need to give a second look to.
Yeah. So we'll move on to some other awards. I don't think we will get as in depth, but we'll see what happens. On my list, of course, at IGN.com, the definitive source for all video game news, best game direction for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. All of the Game of the Year nominees except for Resident Evil 4 Remake, which I'm probably going to repeat a lot of takes from last year's version of this show. What does this even mean, this award? How is it not the same? How could something be Game of the Year if it's based on direction and design and not win best game direction?
Yeah, I mean it's akin to best picture at the Oscars and best director. Usually you look at the ones that got nominated for best director, and if it wasn't in that list, it doesn't have a shot at winning best picture. It's kind of how it looks here with Resident Evil 4 being
But
left out a bit.
I don't know. There's like recognizable individual contributions to a film where like the script specifically and a person isn't nominated for these awards, or like a co-directing team. Different games have individual directors or co-directors, and if it was about what they did on the game, maybe it is, and they're just not presenting it to the general public that way. That I could see, but in the way it's framed as the game getting the award, there's no difference. And gaming is such a collaborative effort where lines can get blurred with where individual contributions lie. I don't know. I don't see why a great game wouldn't also be well directed if they're specifically acknowledging the design of the game, because that is not one person's vision.
I'd be curious to look back on previous years to see if there's ever been a difference between Game of the Year and Best Direction. I feel like that's kind of a newish category too.
Yeah,
Could be wrong, but
I'm almost a hot take status where I think they will actually do this award to give a second Game of the Year kind of thing. And I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
could
surprised
be.
if Alan Wake 2 wins this.
Yeah.
I would, they would be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. Um,
Right.
and maybe there's a bit more of a narrative influence or doing something new or different artistically that might, I feel, intrinsically make its way into best game direction, even though it's not explicitly stated.
Yeah, except for the fact that there is also a narrative category. So then it's kind of
Yeah.
blurs it
Okay.
even
Well, let's
more.
get to that one next. Do you think Baldur's Gate for direction, or you think they're going to mix it up?
Uh I think Baldur's Gate, yeah. But you make a good point with Alan Wake too. It could happen.
Okay. This would be a dilemma for best direction for juice in this episode a little bit. Is a Baldur's Gate, the experience of the game is directed by the player. The direction of the team is to give choices and options and systems to provide that. So depending on how you look at it, I could see. I mean, I don't think that. I think directing a game that allows choices is best game direction. So I wouldn't think that, but maybe voters will. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And again, this is like people,
Not best
anybody,
curation of an experience. It's
yeah. But like for the voting on this, anybody can vote, right? Or is it just that
yeah, that's true too.
I don't know. We always have this debate, and I don't know how the voting breaks down in the end. Like,
I think it's a portion by the general public,
yeah.
not a full vote, but they could misunderstand that award too. Okay, next, best narrative: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. Sorry, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Uh, I finished Final Fantasy 16. Now, I don't know how much narrative works into actual writing of cutscenes and telling the story versus the general story of it, but Final Fantasy 16 should not win best narrative. It is some of the most stilted, especially getting into side quests and moments that are not cinematically portrayed. No chance it should be involved. Uh, I don't know enough about Baldur's Gate 3 to answer this. I kind of feel like, from what I've heard, this would be between Alan Wake 2 and Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
I'm feeling Baldur's Gate 3 as well. Like, I
Really?
mean, it's just, I mean, I haven't played enough of any of these games to really judge the narrative, but just based on the way people seem to feel about all the different paths you can take
Sure.
and the voice acting and dialogue and all that stuff. But I do think I wouldn't be surprised between the three awards we've just talked about, Alan Wake 2 might get one of these. I just don't
Yeah.
know which one.
Well, it says narrative development. So that's where something like that would apply to Baldur's Gate, I think. But I'm going to say Spider-Man 2. Pardon me, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Okay, best art direction. Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. They are all pretty good. I'm going to go in reverse order, ranking what games I think have the best art direction. Bottom, Lies of P. I like it. It's my least favorite of all these. Next would be Hi-Fi Rush. I thought the cinematics were great, but just gameplay, not top level for me. Alan Wake 2 would be next. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I think it should win, hands down.
I'm leaning towards Tears of the Kingdom in terms of what I think will win, and probably what I think should win as well. But yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. Hi-Fi Rush is kind of cool to see it in there, but I really don't feel like it's got a shot. But maybe I'm wrong.
Alan Wake 2 has its visual moments for sure. So I think, and I've seen teases of things that happen in the game later that I'm anticipating. So
Yeah, I haven't fully experienced that stuff yet, so I could change my mind on this for sure.
all right, maybe Microsoft is about to buy Remedy, and that's their And that's all part of the Game Awards announcements. So that's Mike, they're going to announce it at the Game Awards, and that's Microsoft's payola in the moment. And it's like all happening behind the scenes as we speak.
Maybe. I feel like this is actually like when I look at the list of nominees, it's actually a year where it feels very like there aren't a lot of nominees that are in there that don't feel like they belong and they're just there for advertising dollars or whatever. Like there's not even there's I think Assassin's Creed is nowhere on these lists. There's no Ubi stuff except like I think The Crew or something. So I don't
I
know.
mean,
I was kind of surprised about that, but
that doesn't surprise me necessarily, but I think it is a pretty well-rounded set of nominees. Although I have to say, usually the game of the year, I've played them all and have thoughts on a lot of them. And I know people say this is an amazing year for gaming. I just don't feel it. I don't feel like, oh, I loved playing all of these games. A lot of them felt like chores to me. There wasn't a game this year that I just had to play beginning to end, except for Jedi Survivor and a bit of Tears of the Kingdom. But that was more the first half of the game than the second. By the end, I was like, I need this game to be over. So I don't know. Wonder's pretty good too. I'm hoping Baldur's Gate 3 eventually like gets its hooks into me. Best score, music, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate, Final Fantasy, Hi-Fi Rush, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I have no thoughts on this. I would probably say Tears of the Kingdom.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Final Fantasy always wins
Yeah,
these
it's
kind of
pretty good
things,
too.
but
I would put it between those two. Can't really say though. I'm going to skip best audio design unless you have thoughts on it.
no, that's
Uh,
fine. I mean, Alan Wake 2, I feel like should win, but
best performance for a motion capture actor, I think. I don't know. Do you want to go through all these or?
I don't really have much to say, but it is weird how, you know, every game gets boiled down to one performance. Like, like there's so many characters in Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3, but they pick like the one guy who plays Astalon or what's his name? But like there's tons of great performances in there, but that's the one you only get one. And then like Spider-Man, they pick the guy who's voicing Peter Parker, but like I like the guy who does Miles Morales. So
Yeah, even some of the villains I like more in what I've played. So I would definitely not give it to Spider-Man. I didn't know which actor it was. Can't say enough about the others. Like definitely not the Final Fantasy 16 guy. How do you not give it to Idris Elba?
yeah, I mean, it feels like that's the obvious just because it's a celebrity, but I don't know, maybe not.
I haven't played it, so I can't say. And I'm sure there are exceptions of celebrities phoning in performances in video games. Okay. Games for impact, pro social meaning or message. This, and let's also do innovation and accessibility. How do they not say what they're impactful or innovative for? Like, how can I read this list and have any like? I don't know. I haven't played a lot of the games. I don't know what makes them worthy of this award. And I feel like for general public to vote on it, there should be a little bit of context.
Yeah, I mean, games for impact is a weird category. Like it seems to be more about promoting diversity or stories
Yeah.
of, groups or characters that maybe don't always get a voice, which I see in some of them. I'm not too sure. Like Chance of Sonar is a game I've enjoyed from what I've played so far. I don't really know how it fits into this category yet,
Yeah,
but
I don't know if it's sometimes if it's even the developers that are, if it's the game itself or the team that made it. I have no idea. So
yeah, I mean, that
I
could
don't
be
know.
part of it. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for Impact, A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sonar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. I think you played Venba, right?
Yeah, and that would be
And Chance of
probably
Sonar.
Yeah, Venba would probably be my pick. Just maybe that's the Microsoft
Oh, is
getting
that
rid
who
of it.
published that?
I mean, it's a Game Pass game. I don't know if they officially
I don't
published it
think
or
so.
not, but I feel like it has that they're associated with it in some way. But
And then accessibility, Diablo, Forza, Hi-Fi Rush, Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6. Don't know what their innovations are, but anyway, can't really weigh in on that one,
yeah, that's a
which
hard one to
is weird.
talk about.
Best ongoing game, Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. Just hearing some rumblings out there in the world, and I'm going to predict Genshin Impact wins this.
Yeah, I mean it's
And
like
this is not insinuating what's the name of the company?
MiHoYo, I think.
Okay.
Hoyoverse.
Yeah, this is not uh Toyo Payola or something like that. I People have been talking to me about the story of Genshin Impact and having one of the best recent additions for story.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going to say Genshin Impact. If I could bet on it on my app right now, I would, but I can't. Um, Next, best indie game, the most fun category to me by far. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. Sean, you're also the big indie head here. So I think you've played all of these. Maybe not Dredge.
Yeah, I bought it, haven't played it yet, and I haven't played Dave the Diver yet either. So
I've played a bit of both of those. I haven't played Sea of Stars yet. I cannot believe I haven't. I played all of The Messenger just to get ready for Sea of Stars and still haven't played it. And I have not played Viewfinder, which you did.
yeah, which I liked. But it's kind of feels to me like it's between Cocoon and Sea of Stars.
I
Uh,
agree.
I don't know. I mean, Dave the Diver,
Had its moment in the summer. I was
yeah,
surprised Pizza Tower didn't make this nominee list.
yeah, they have a separate first game category that they are in, I
Yeah,
believe.
even then, so
But
that's the next one. Best debut indie, which has some overlap. Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, Viewfinder. I think Cocoon is a lock for best debut indie for sure, and I would pick it for best indie game. I could see Sea of Stars possibly beating it though.
yeah, I think the Golden Joystick Awards, I think Sea of Stars won Best Indie, if I'm not mistaken, for what that's worth. But um, yeah, I feel like Cocoon. I mean, the one thing I wanted to mention too with the nominees for like Game of the Year and stuff, it almost feels like you could just go to Metacritic and just pick the top 5 or 6 games, and it's pretty much that list. Like, take
Yeah,
out games from previous years, and there's 1 or 2 that maybe aren't in there, but so and Cocoon is up there. So I really do feel like Cocoon has that kind of critical buzz.
at all. I've tried a bunch of these, and that one I had to finish. I think it had great art, great design, and yeah, it would be my pick based on what I've played. Best mobile game. Are we skipping this? Can we skip it, please?
I have nothing to say
Okay.
about any of these games.
Community support. I'm skipping that one. Okay. Best VR AR game. Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village, and Synapse. Talk about a PlayStation VR2 domination.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, where's the Meta Quest games in here? And I mean, like, granted, I don't there's nothing that comes to mind that's come out so far this year, but I mean, Asgard's Wrath 2 is going to be in the conversation by the end of the year.
I
I
mean,
don't
it
know
comes
what
out
the
after the Game Awards. I think it's December 13th. So
yeah.
um, I don't think it's eligible. But I mean, that's kind of crazy that every one of these games, I think, maybe not Humanity, is a PlayStation exclusive for VR. This might
I
be your payola category this year.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's very leaning towards PlayStation and AAA stuff. And I mean, there are other games that like I've heard a lot of good things about Vertigo 2, which is coming to PSVR 2, but maybe not by the end of the year. I think it got delayed. Um, and it's just weird that like Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil Village, I mean, those are games from last year. I don't know if I guess the VR modes for
Those are
both
new.
was
Yeah.
was added this year, but I don't know. It just feels weird having those in there.
Yeah, this is a strange category. All right,
But
moving on.
my pick will be Horizon Call of the Mountain. I believe that's going to win.
Okay, I say Resident Evil Village.
Okay.
Next, best action game and best action adventure game, which like to me the only real they justify this as combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Like Ghost Runner 2 is the whole game is traversal. It might not have puzzle solving, but it's similar challenges in terms of pattern recognition and how you navigate an environment. I'll never understand this. As far as I'm concerned, the adventure influence for action adventure is telling a story. If you go back to original game genres, this is still very puzzling to me, but it's basically so they can give out 2 awards. Armored Core 6, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2 for best action game. Like, how are none of the Game of the Year awards action games?
Yeah, it's weird. And I mean, that's where the action adventure category seems to be where all the Game of the Year ones get pushed. But so this seems to be focused like it's a very specific genre. But even looking at that, it's like,
Dead Island 2, you have to like,
yeah,
do quests. There's some story there.
and Dead Island 2 is kind of an RPG in a way. Like, I don't know, that one is weird. I can see Ghost Runner 2. I have to admit, Armored Core, I guess I'm an idiot. I thought that was like a strategy game or something. Like I did not know it was an action game.
The mech game.
But yeah, and then Hi-Fi Rush, I guess I could see.
That makes
Um,
sense. It's like a rhythm game. Uh, Whatever. I think who's going to win this? I'm the cynical part of me thinks they created this award just to give it to Armor, or the nominees are designed just to give it to From Software for Armored Core 6 or Hi-Fi Rush, because that might be the payola and the game people have generally are fond of that hasn't gotten a lot of recognition. So I'm going to go Hi-Fi Rush for the winner here.
I'm gonna say Armored Core 6.
Okay. Action Adventure is designed, I think, so something can win that's not Baldur's Gate 3. Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Jedi Survivor. Finally, someone recognizing this game. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And this will be Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I kind of think that as well, but there is a part of me that thinks this is the category where they will recognize Jedi Survivor because it's not really anywhere else.
How could you not be nominated and win against all the other Game of the Year nominees?
I mean, that's the weird thing with all these categories. Like sometimes it feels like a category is created just to give a specific game an award or to kind of move outside of those main nominees.
Correct.
So,
And this year it's for Tears of the Kingdom because it's not going to win the major awards and it needs to be recognized.
yeah.
Best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, Starfield. This is a 2-horse race for me between Baldur's Gate 3 and Sea of Stars. Baldur's Gate 3 will win.
Hard to see Baldur's Gate 3 not winning, but there's a part of me that thinks Starfield is going to win this because of, what I said. There's got to be some Microsoft representation in here, but I doubt it.
Best fighting game, God of Rock, which I've never heard of. Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which got a 9 on IGN recently. Pocket Bravery, Street Fighter 6. I have no sense of this genre anymore. And I'm going to say Mortal Kombat 1 because I'm not hearing a lot of buzz about a new Street Fighter, to be honest.
I think Street Fighter is up there. Like, I think it just came out earlier in the year, but I think Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, you're
But
probably right.
but God of Rock, that was like the one game out of everything. I was like, what game is that? I hadn't
Yeah, I'm the
heard of it.
same.
Sounds kind of interesting. It's like a rhythm game mixed with a fighting game. So, but
Kind of looks cool. I should
seems like
maybe
the
look at this game.
reviews seems like the reviews were kind of mixed on it, but it does sound cool.
Best family game. We doing this one? What
Sure.
does this even mean? Uh, Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4. Maybe it's so party animal. A lot of party animals coming up. Sonic Superstars, Mario Brothers Wonder, Okay, let's give Mario Wonder an award, right?
Yeah, I mean Mario is probably not going to win Game of the Year, so I think it wins this.
Okay. Best sports racing game. Uh, EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged, the Crew Moto Fest. Feels like another chance for Gang Green to get a little love with Forza Motorsport.
It's a weird category. Like I don't know if they've always mixed sports and racing, but it's pretty much racing games. So like I don't know, they just don't know how to like rate sports games when they come out every year over and over again, and it's like what's different this year? Like they just don't know how to judge that anymore. Well, the racing games are kind of like that too. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I would say what was the list again? I can't find it here.
Stay Forza.
I mean, probably Forza, yeah, but let's see.
Best. Oh,
Gran
sorry.
Turismo was last year, right?
Yeah, it's not nominated. Crew, Hot Wheels, Forza, F1. Could be F1. A lot of people like F1 these days. Best sim strategy game. Advanced Wars 1 plus 2 Reboot Camp. City Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, Pikmin 4. I'll give a shout out to Corey, aka Goon, and say Pikmin 4, which is his game of the year. Hot take.
Hmm. That's kind of the one that I mean, I haven't really played any of them, but that one feels like it has some strong reviews, and yeah, I think it'll probably win this.
And considering how many stupid like farming games I've seen in Nintendo Directs, none of them are on this list. So, and Nintendo still seems to have the market cornered this year. Best multiplayer game: Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. It's a pretty weak grouping of multiplayer games.
You know what? I totally forgot about Diablo 4. I was a little bit like thought there was a chance that could be in like the game of the year discussion. Although as we've discussed, it is a little surprising that it's up there and that the reviews are that strong and stuff. I feel like it might win this category.
I think Baldur's Gate 3 will win.
Probably. I mean, how can you not?
Okay. I'm skipping anything content creator or esports athlete until we get nominated. It is not even open discussion. Let's get to most anticipated game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. Is that on anyone's most like what is with all this Tekken love all of a sudden?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I don't know about that one.
Namco might be spreading some cash around. I don't know. Maybe Microsoft's buying Namco or Nintendo. If I had to pick one from this list, it would be I mean, there's three. Final Fantasy VII, Hades 2, and Outlaws are all pretty close. Uh, which of those three games would you go, Sean? I got to think. I want to play all of those games really bad.
I mean, my pick is Star Wars Outlaws. I think Hades 2 might win just based on that Hades 1 game of the year a couple years back. Just feels like there's excitement there.
I think I was wrong about that. I don't think Hades won Game of the Year. Am I? It was possibly at the awards.
There's a bunch of different awards.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the Game Awards. You're right.
But because I think that was the same year as Sekiro. Not sure though. But I think the one I want to play the most is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I'm just curious to see how they handle the open areas of Final Fantasy VII. But I think Hades 2 will win. Star Wars Outlaws will be close though. It's so similar to Survivor. I don't know if it's standing out that much, but it looks really good. Okay, that's it. Best adaptation. Don't care. Or do we want we can do a film junk crossover here. Best adaptation. Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and Twisted Metal. Maybe I was sleeping on Twisted Metal. The trailer looked so bad.
Yeah, I mean, huge snub to Five Nights at Freddy's here.
Ooh, juicy.
but um, I don't know. I kind of feel like Mario Brothers is going to win this.
Dude, get real. The Last of Us is winning this. If I could
Yeah, you're
that
right. It's definitely The Last of
that
Us.
one K from that Bills game and put it on The Last of Us right now, I would.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
not even close.
You're right. I don't know. There's like that feeling of like, because Mario, you know, made so much money and like it kind of, I don't know. But yeah, there's no question. It's going to be The Last of Us.
Although a lot of people like those Castlevania shows.
It's true. I don't actually know what the
Yeah, me
difference is
neither.
with
But
this new one, but
okay, that's the Game Awards coming to you this December. We've told you all the winners. If you have betting locations, feel free to make a little cash based on our predictions. They're going to be good. And do we want to talk after best adaptation about Legend of Zelda movie in partnership with
we could
Sony
throw that in
Pictures?
there. Yeah.
Uh, I really don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know how you turn that into like a narrative live action movie that feels like the games in any way. Could still be interesting, but
I
I
mean,
don't
you'd
know.
have to pitch this. It's the director of the Maze Runner and the new Planet of the Apes movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
But you'd have to pitch this as like taking some existing movie, a fantasy film or something like that, or a couple films, and grafting Zelda onto it would be my guess. Can you think of a recent film that would lend itself like as a reskinning with Zelda? Because I'm struggling to do that.
Not really. I can't even like, has there been any big fantasy movies recently?
Or a classic fantasy movie, a modern reimagining of a classic fantasy.
I mean, the obvious thing is to think of stuff like Game of Thrones and you know, TV stuff, but that doesn't really work. Like,
No,
it's too gritty for Zelda. So I don't
I
know
think you'd have
really.
to go to an 80s fantasy movie basically. And I feel like that's what the Warcraft movie was trying to do, but it was just so like overwhelming to watch with technology than story. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, there's really, I mean, I'm trying to look up a list here. The Green Knight, is that the only recent fantasy movie? I guess
The
the
only thing that kind of makes sense to me is something like Never Ending Story or following Link as this reluctant hero.
yeah.
Or not the actual book reading part of Never Ending Story, like the story within kind of thing.
Hmm.
Maybe they'll frame it like Never Ending Story, someone playing a video game and like Jumanji. I hope not. I pray to God they don't do
Yeah,
that.
I really don't want to see it. And that's
Uh,
the thing, like most of these things, they turn into some kind of self-aware kind of comedy, partially a comedy, right? But I don't think that will work for Zelda. So that's
no,
where it's tricky.
this is going to be played completely legit,
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see if my gut is it would be something more along the lines of Ocarina of Time than the recent open world ones in terms of like art direction influence, but we'll see.
Yeah. Probably like the more classic elements.
Yeah, the only thing I can say for sure is I dread all the updates on this movie and the screenshots and promotional materials and reacting to every bit of information we get about this film. So,
Well, I'll be very interested to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Um,
Tears of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
haven't seen any of the Maze Runner movies. Maybe I should check them out at some point. But based on that, I was like, this guy's doing Zelda, but I assume it's the Planet of the Apes that really got him the job. So,
Yeah. We got a jobber coming in for the Zelda movie.
yep.
Okay, what we played. Not a whole lot. Anything for you, Sean?
Yeah, the one thing that's new that I tried that I wanted to quickly mention is a game called Jusant.
Oh, this is the
JUS.
climbing game that I tried the demo for, I believe.
Yeah, JUSANT. It's on Game Pass now. And that's what it is. It's a climbing game, which maybe sounds kind of boring because, there's a lot of climbing in a lot of the open world games now and VR games, and people kind of feel like they're getting tired of it. But I thought this actually brought an interesting mechanic to it that,
And this is a Don't Nod game, known for the Life is Strange series, pretty popular developer.
right. But so there you kind of have this mechanic where you have to use each hand individually to climb up, and it's not as kind of clunky as I thought it might be. Like, you kind of get into a zone where you kind of are feeling your way around the surface and reaching out in different directions, and you kind of, I don't know, it just works after a while. And so I was enjoying that. I don't know that I really got far enough to understand what the story is or anything like that, but you're climbing up this mountain, and then there's sort of these caves and things that you're discovering along the way that were left behind by other people. So, it's there's some narrative there, but I don't know. I mean, it's apparently like a 3 or 4 hour game. It's something I could see myself going back to, but I mean, there's just so many games right now.
I know when I played the demo, I don't know what they've worked out, but I thought the user interface, user experience was very confusing. I was like, the anchoring things into the wall and how to use your rope, I was like confused a lot. The first time I climbed things, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm doing this right. It doesn't feel that fluid to me. So I mean, they could have figured out that stuff since I played the demo. So I don't know. But when I played the demo, I was like, I'm out. But maybe they fixed it.
And did you play it on console or PC?
Steam. I think it was part of Summer Game Fest or something like that.
But you're using a controller then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just the two triggers to reach and grab, and I thought that worked. I guess the one thing, like, you do have to put the spikes in the wall when you. I think that from what I saw so far, it's so you can jump higher to reach stuff. So you like give yourself an anchor point to jump from. So it didn't seem that complicated so far, but I could see maybe if they add more to it, it would be a lot.
If there's anything to learn from what we're talking about here, it's never play demos, because I mean, now I don't even know if it's worth my time to buy it. And um, it wasn't even finished when I played the demo. It was at a fair judgment of the game. I couldn't get achievements with the demo. Never ever, Frank, play a demo again. It is a complete waste of fucking time.
I mean, it's the problem with releasing demos too. Like, if it's not a amazing demo that's going to win people over immediately, you might lose a sale by putting out
John,
a
if I
demo.
play a demo again in my life, you come at me.
Okay.
I solemnly vow to never play a demo again.
Okay.
I will break this vow.
I love Steam Next Fest, so I will
Yeah,
be playing many demos, but
I will break the vow, is my prediction. But yeah, okay. I played a bit of Risk of Rain Returns. Like, Risk of Rain 2 is kind of a huge game in the
Mhm.
indie world now. And they remastered or revisited the first Risk of Rain, which is a 2D version of Risk of Rain, which I'd played before. It didn't hook me or anything, but I liked it. It was a simple game. And I had fun. I did 5 runs, enjoyed them. Generally, probably on the difficult side for me. I don't know if the original Risk of Rain had co-op. I think this one does, which is kind of what Risk of Rain 2 is known for. So I don't know how much difficulty scales relating to that, but it looks good. The new graphics look great. And yeah, it was fun. Something I'd like to play more of. Relatively cheap, $16 with the discount right now. So worth
Nice.
checking out, in my opinion. I think I got it on CD keys too for like 13.
I think I own both Risk of Rain games, and I don't think I've ever played either of them.
But
But
they're pretty fun. I
yeah,
like it. They have
I've
a cool
heard good
stacking
things.
element where, there's buffs in a rogue like or whatever boons, whatever the game has, and you can stack them. So you can like get one power up 10 times to have like crazy effects of what that's like, which is a neat idea.
Hmm, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fucking cool, dude.
Um, So yeah, I mean, not too much else for me. I did finish Super Mario Wonder. You said you played a bit of it as
Yeah,
well.
I played a couple more worlds. 3 and 4. I'm pretty much done. Was it just me or was like World 3 really short?
I mean, a couple of them are pretty
Yeah, 4
short.
seems pretty short too. I was surprised. And the reason why Mario Wonder, there is no chance it will win my Game of the Year award is the Mario search party levels. They absolutely suck, or the search party levels, I should say. They are unintuitive. They're exercises in frustration, with some mild moments of cleverness. But for the most part, I could leave those levels immediately and never play them again, and I would be just fine. But the game is way too easy. It is way too easy.
It is. I mean, there's the special world, which you mentioned previously. I don't know if there's anything beyond that, but I mean, I guess that's partially what some of the expert badges are for as well, is to just
Mhm.
artificially make it harder for yourself.
But it's definitely polished and fun, and I will finish it for sure. But not taking that top spot. I know that absolutely.
Yep, I hear you.
Other than that, I played a bit of the new COD multiplayer. It was okay. I mean, it's COD multiplayer. The menus are kind of annoying, especially putting attachments on weapons. Feel like they've made that more complicated, which is the only thing that I'm like, this was fine. I don't know why they fucked with it a bit, but yeah, I don't know. Don't really care. I'll play it here and there with friends, but that's about it. Although my friends aren't really buying it. I thought they were going to and they didn't. So I think there's generally like not great vibes about Call of Duty and its popularity right now would be my guess.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, like, because I mean, we haven't really talked about this, but the Activision deal closing and those
Mm-hmm.
games potentially getting added to Game Pass,
Yeah, that's a good point.
that could definitely bring an influx of players and people who are waiting, maybe because the reviews weren't amazing, will still check it out, I'm sure. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess, like the thing with COD, I assume, the Warzone is always around. So it's like if the new one comes out and it's like kind of just okay, like people would just go back to Warzone, I assume,
Yeah,
right?
and there's a lot of negative reviews and press around the campaign, which should be the selling feature, I suppose. If there's all these outstanding and similar gameplay modes from previous games, so yeah, not great. Good pickup, Microsoft. Way to crush that Activision deal. Uh,
Frank, before we wrap this
Sean.
up, can we get an update on your Quest 3 controllers?
Oh, I haven't played it since, dude. So Sean and I played a little more Dungeons of Eternity, and I had a pretty good time. At one point, I went to throw something, I think an axe, and I didn't have my wrist straps on, and I threw the control. I literally threw the controller. The first time I've ever done that, I felt like such a noob. Uh, and I mean, it's immersive. What can I say? Dungeons of E
Yeah, I mean,
is
that's kind of
immersive.
a selling point right there.
D of E. And yeah, I haven't checked since. I was looking to see if there was just general pairing issues, which I found some information about, but I'm concerned I broke my controllers
Yeah,
and
we had to end the session early because Frank's controller just
wouldn't
stopped working.
connect. The battery is weird. It, like, where the connectors for the two ends of the battery, the one is like spring loaded and it pushes in. So I'm wondering if like that contact, if that spring got broken and it's not fully pressing against one of the nodes of the battery.
Hmm.
And if that's a thing, who designed that? That's terrible. Just another piece that can break on a battery contact. Have we ever had problems with battery contacts breaking in the history of the world?
I mean, I feel like
Springs. Can we?
a lot of things have those springs on them for batteries, but
No,
uh,
this is like it's almost like a piston that's spring loaded in the back. It's the spring isn't the contact.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So it's like a piece that can break. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't, who knows? I hope it's just a fluke occurrence. Otherwise, I'm going to be very mad with myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to go
Thanks for
back under the
reminding me.
visor. So, yeah, you
Yeah.
better get it looked at.
How do you diagnose this? I can only play again and see if it fucks up and then cry.
Yeah, I wonder what their like policy is for repairs and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't want to do anything dishonest. Like, I don't want to return it and say it's
That's,
broken.
I mean, it's you only bought it a couple of weeks ago, so
But it's
it's an
my,
option.
I did it. But maybe I didn't. Maybe it's just,
Could have been defective from the start, Frank.
I don't know. It's a moral road I'm going to have to walk down another time. But that's it for this week's show, I think, right? We're done.
I think that's it.
Next week, probably reactions or thoughts on the Super Mario RPG, which releases on Friday.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking I might wait on that for like Christmas potentially. Are you telling me I got to buy it now?
No, you don't.
Uh,
I
but
will. I've already got it pre-downloaded, ready to go with my
okay,
voucher. I
very
had to use
cool.
those vouchers.
There is something else. Oh yeah, Flashback 2 comes out this week, and I've heard absolutely nothing about it. Probably not a good sign.
That's a Sean game all the way.
Yeah, but I'm worried. I'm interested, but worried. And what about the PlayStation Portal? You picking that up, Frank?
No. I saw a quick review today where apparently it doesn't have Bluetooth connectors for headphones, or people were
I did hear that. Yeah.
mentioning that. I cannot buy this right now. I'm already pissed that Steam Deck OLED got announced, and now my Oculus 3 is broken. Every good VR game at the Game Awards is a PlayStation 2 VR. I'm just making really bad decisions these days. So might be time to put the wallet away. Stop buying things.
Not gonna happen.
We'll see, Sean. Getting burned a lot here.
Okay.
So next week, yeah, maybe some Mario RPG talk. Huck should be back. You can find Sean at Film Junk. And the show's on YouTube, youtube.com/Game Junk. And Discord links are there. If you want to join the discussion or give some feedback, comments on there as well. Thanks for listening or watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.